What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome into the first Believe in Wizards of the Anthony Davis era of Wizards basketball. It's a new day. The deconstruction phase, I think, is officially over with the trade the Wizards made today. For anybody that hasn't seen it, the Wizards are trading for Dallas Mavericks 10-time NBA All-Star, future Hall of Famer Anthony Davis. They get Jaden Hardy in the deal, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and they send out Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, two first round picks, and three second round picks. The first round picks is the late 2026 pick they have this year, so somewhere in the bottom, 25 to 30 range, and then a protected top 20 protected 2030 pick that they're owed by the Warriors in the Chris Paul Jordan Poole trade. So ultimately, late first round picks for Anthony Davis, and then some salary cap exchange. Jahadi, what was your reaction to seeing this news?
It surprised me, but at the same time, it lets me know, okay, the deconstruction phase is over.
Yeah.
All right, like now, it's simply the deconstruction phase is over. Yep. They're playing real time basketball now, preparing a real time team, and this is the time we've been waiting for. So now, what I like most is that you have like a twin tower situation,
yep.
Right, with Sarr and Davis. Right now, what I also like is that Davis does not like to play five. Right, so now
they're both perfect, like that 4-5 hybrid 4-5 together. Yeah.
Right. So now they can play interchangeable. Mm-hmm. You have an awesome point guard who's really good at playing with bigs. Right.
Athletic bigs who can roll and actually catch a lob too, which these guys should be able to do.
And if they're not rolling it, they athletic bigs who can roll, but like that you can put in that screen and roll situation. Mm-hmm. Like they love situations, and two bigs who really knows how to use those situations to their benefit, which is great. And then you have all the other pieces that we already been excited about around them. So you just, you got to get your hats off to the organization right now, just making great power moves, and not only with making power moves like that, but not really giving up a lot or losing a lot to make the moves.
They don't give up this year's top, lottery pick. They don't give up any members of the young core. Like that's kind of almost impossible to believe that no good young piece has gone out in the two guys they've acquired.
Right.
If you guys are watching this,
that's the biggest part. What'd you say?
Go ahead. No, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I would think we would lose something in that young core, especially that how solid they are, and how if I'm another team, I'm like I can get a young guy who's really good at developing. I would thought you'd at least lose Keyshawn or somebody in this situation, and we're just staying solid. So now we're just building from there.
Yeah, I think they were patient. They waited for guys to be below market value for the level of contributor that they've been. So these are Hall of Fame level guys that are distressed assets. And someone might balk at the Trae Young Hall of Fame level guy, but look at the numbers he's put up through the first however many years of his career. Like he's on pace for that kind of thing. And now this team, if it can win some games in a meaningful setting and he can keep powering them there, that's going to be pretty impressive. Do you remember that one year for Anthony Davis where he was working out with like Lethal Shooter, the shooting coach, and he was like, everybody thought he was going to come in, start drilling a bunch of threes, and he had that one really good shooting season? I feel like that was always like the hope Alex Sarr could turn into like that version of Anthony Davis that could pick and pop a little bit. Like these two guys together, like this is a perfect guy for Alex Sarr to learn from. He's already got a better jumper than Davis does, but he can learn how to do those mobile big man things and how to like defend in space and cover a lot of court and little tips and tricks. Like I'm so excited for the growth he can make. And the guy's already been good defensively. I'm not knocking Alex Sarr anyway. I think this is a great thing. Like Anthony Davis is a next level interior defender though.
Yeah. So, what I learned in the NBA wasn't a lot of new moves. It was tricks.
Yeah.
right? And so, and that's the tricks and the details is what separates the good players from the great players,
For
right?
sure.
So Anthony Davis has a lot of experience. He's played with the best. He's not only played with the best. He's won NBA championships. He's fought
Mm-hmm.
really hard to be in the final. Has a lot of final experience.
Yep.
Those type of little gems and those little things he passed along, you can't buy. You
Mm-hmm.
can't get that from a trainer. You can't get that
Sure.
from anybody. Now,
Even your
Alex
own
Sarr
coaches.
and
Yeah.
then, yeah, and they the same height and they both tall. So it's just if I'm Sarr, I'm really excited to eat that up
Mm-hmm.
as far as just all those tricks and from experience. And when I find myself in these little jams, oh, how can I get through this? I know there's somebody with the answer. Not
Yep.
only that, now if I'm Anthony Davis, I have a release valve. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So now that's very exciting too to have a release valve as far as like, rebound and sorry, do this, do this. We got to work off each other. Now they can't just really focus on me.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have so it's going to be a tough team to scout.
Davis is still only 32 years old despite playing 14 years in the NBA, which is kind of crazy to think about. He has career averages of 24 points per game, 10.7 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.3 steals, 2.3 blocks. He gets to the free throw line about 7 times per game, which I think will be good for the Wizards to get a few more, free throws. Although he's not been doing it as much the last year or two here, maybe because of the injuries. But the injuries really is the issue. Last year he played 51 games between the two teams. This year he's only played 20 games. But it's worth a shot for the Wizards that you can just rest him the rest of the year, give him time to actually get healthy with no stakes, and then next year you can really hit the ground running with him and see. But it's also you're not a situation where you have to like drive him into the ground. You have Sar, you have a third big, presumably you can get in free agency here, whoever they may get in the draft ultimately. So you can kind of bring him along slowly and load manage him and all that stuff. He doesn't play on second nights of back to backs. Like all those things that you probably couldn't get away with, when he was in LA at the end there and even for part of the year in Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. You can rest him, and you don't have to push him to his limit, right? Because we have enough on our roster, and we can make our bench even deeper. It's going to even be better, right? But the good thing about it is how the Wizards played it to me is the best two pieces that we just got right now with Trey and AD is that we got them while they were hurt.
Yep.
Right. So we played the value game and said, okay, well, we don't need them for this year anyway. We need them for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let's let them heal. And now next year we can really start, above board. So yeah, I think it's just good upper management deals.
Yeah, and I think if they trust their training staff and their medical staff, and that's hey, that's cool. We'll get them right, and we've got the right people to work those things out. I think Kristaps Porzingis talked about how being in Washington and the training staff here helped him basically revitalize his career after putting on too much weight in Dallas. So this is a guy that maybe he can do the same kind of thing, and sometimes getting a little lighter and more flexible and things like that actually helps guys later in their career here. So we'll see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, that too, and then it's also, I feel like we never got the best out of AD in Dallas
Oh, yeah, for
because
sure.
he never chose to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he didn't decide to be there. So then you get rid of Nico. So now it's hard to play for an organization where you feel like they don't want you there and you don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a fresh start for him. Not only it's a fresh start, but it's a fresh situation with guys that I think he would like playing with. Then you have a lot of young guys that can really play. So to me, AD is always best when he's not only needed, but feels like he's the star. He's the man.
You're also setting him up to be successful by presumably surrounding him with shooters. Bub Carrington has
Yeah.
shot better than probably we expected at this point in his career. Trey Johnson is a sniper. Keyshawn is shot. Trey Young can shoot the shit out of it, like at a high volume. And Alex Sarr is one of the better shooting bigs in the league, projectably long term here. So that's a lot of like now
and
I have to
Keyshawn
guard.
probably one of our most pure shooters.
Yeah, absolutely. So like these are now guys you can't help off of, or I mean you can, but you're gonna have to pick your poison there. And now you've got to guard Davis in single coverage in space. That's a tough ask, but he's also not had the best point guard play to make his life easy lately too. Like he didn't play a ton of games next to Kyrie Irving, and the last real point guard he probably had was LeBron the year that they really let LeBron like cook and run the offense. So I think for Davis, like we could see him kind of rejuvenated by just the opportunity to like, oh, I don't have two. They're not immediately sending a double on me. Like, awesome. This is great. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. Plus, I think that's even more freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And I think as a system is going to be more, there will be more freedom because now it's all about now we have to build a system. Like we just can't say, hey, these guys, we're going to run this system. This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You literally have to build a system that benefits your bigs.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you have Trey there who's all about just taking, he loves to feed his bigs. And now you have two of the best bigs. You don't have one, you have two of the best bigs in the game right now.
Yep.
So now this is most likely going to be an inside out system.
I think so. Yeah, they should get one of the two of them should get a paint touch on every offensive possession.
Yeah. That should be the first touch, and now everybody has to collapse because you got to respect it.
Exactly.
And now we just open up the floor.
And we mentioned the assist numbers for Davis. I mean, last year he averaged 3.5 assists. 2 years before that, 3.5 assists. Like that's pretty good for a big. That means he can pass out of a double and create a little bit too. So I'm excited for that. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please hit the like button for us. Helps us become more discoverable by other Wizards fans. So want to hype this one up a little bit. Appreciate you guys doing that. Jahadi, I've got a couple things. I've got a best case, a most likely outcome middle case, and a worst case. And I want to run them through for you and see what you think. Best case, I've got Anthony Davis is healthy. He plays probably in the 65 to 70 game range. Forms a potent front court with Alex Sarr for the next couple years. The young guys help him age gracefully as he starts to decline a little bit. They pick up the slack as they continue to grow. And you gave up no meaningful assets to get him, so you have even more opportunity to build things around them and bolster this group. And worst, like the back end of that, when he ages out, he might still have enough left in the tank. You could even flip him for some of those assets back if for whatever reason it doesn't work out. So to me, best case, they're a dynamic duo, and he's really good right now and can kind of taper off into being more of a veteran presence for them as Sarr and whoever else they draft is ready to take on some more of the slack. Does that seem reasonable to you?
I think it's very reasonable for the most part because he has this time to heal.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're not wearing him down this year at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wearing Trey down this year at all.
Yep.
Right. So now whatever the program is to make sure he's the healthiest he can be possible, which maybe make sure his, injury, whatever he's kind of something, he's somewhat injury prone, but okay, let's start a new process. Maybe yoga, maybe swimming, tighten up a lot of muscle fibers in a lot of
Pilates was big for Porzingis while he was here, stuff like that.
Exactly. So give him a different regimen now while he's healing. And now next year you giving him some type of regimen where he can sustain more. Mm-hmm. Right. And plus you're not putting so much pressure on him because you're going to get a guy in the draft, we don't know, we're going to get somewhere near the top, which most likely will be, I don't think it's going to be a point guard. Right. So I think it's going to be somewhere in that in between, forward or a big three, three guy interchangeable. That's also you can use to probably take some, pressure off of him. So I think this is a great situation. So yeah, I agree with you that the best case scenario is not a far-fetched situation.
Yep. I think the other part of that too is if you have a point guard that's not great defensively, the best thing you can do for him is give him like staunch wing defenders, but also big guys that you can funnel his man to for help. So for Trae Young, this is the best case for him in terms of like the support and infrastructure behind him. If you get Keyshawn George and Koulibaly on the wings and Sar and Anthony Davis down low, like it almost doesn't matter that he's not that great on that end of the court because good luck. I mean, that's tough.
And that's a great plan, right? Okay, we know Trae is, not only that, we got guys like you say you can funnel them into. Now we also have guys who can, rebound really well. So not only it helps Trae in as far as his lack of defense, where he doesn't do well on defense in those situations, it still limits the team. Most teams to one possession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're not going to play the most lockdown defense of all time, at least make sure they don't get second chance points
Right.
and things like that. I think the medium outcome here is he plays enough to kind of raise the floor, especially on defense, maybe in the 50-ish game range. But even the time he does miss, I still think he's a valuable learning partner for Alex Sarr, whoever, if you draft another big, a Cam Boozer or whoever else. So like even to me, like if that's just sort of like that, if it doesn't work out perfectly, you still at a minimum get that. You probably get 50 games of him plus whatever like intangible benefit you get from just having a champion on the roster here too.
Yeah. My only concern is what's our pace?
Yeah.
What's our pace? Because what pace we were playing at? Do we have to play at a higher pace?
Right. They've played so fast lately. It's
right.
Like, can he keep up with
because
that?
we have young boys. When young players out there, they play and they get up and down. And when you facing the OKC or such a team like that, where it gets up and down, but then again, if you can play at a pace that's our pace and force teams to play our pace and just wear them down on the inside.
I think he gives you a change of pace, which is nice too. Like even if you want to run around him, if he's getting the defensive boards and people are trying to get out in support of him, I think that's great. But also when you do need to bog down in a playoff setting eventually in the half court, he's a guy you can go to a little bit too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think worst case is he never gets fully healthy, and maybe you have to flip him, down the road. He's only playing 20 games a season because at 32, a big that's had some injuries, sometimes that goes off the rails. So to me, it's less likely that it totally falls apart, but that's worst case. But even in the worst case, all you're really giving up are 2 late seconds, which they've shown or late firsts, which they've shown an ability to get those kind of assets back. So you can replace that and bolster that back up. You've given up guys who weren't in your plans, and you've used cap space that you were going to have to use otherwise. So to me, it is like literally a no risk situation to do this.
It's not. But that's the genius thing about it.
Yeah.
It's a no risk situation in both of these regards with Trae Young and AD. Right. And you got Trae Young and AD.
Right, exactly. Also, just
you know what I'm saying? You don't get Trae Young and AD right. in these situations, not what we gave up for. You're right. Giving half. You're gonna give up a lot of major players and half the team for these guys normally.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So like
multiple first round picks and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the cachet and the credibility you get as an organization too, for bringing in players of that stature, that means something to other people around the league. One, it signals that the Wizards are serious, that this front office means business. And I mean, I would love for you to speak to this more than me, but guys want to play for a competent front office that if I'm going to go there, especially guys who want to win, these guys are as serious about it as I am. Like that's what you've just signaled to the rest of the league is we want to start winning and we want to do it sooner rather than later. So come here if you mean business.
Well, it always takes a few players.
Sure.
And then what happens is guys want to follow those players.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so like in this scenario, you have two really good names over there,
Mm-hmm.
AD and Trae Young, right?
Yep.
Then you have these really good up and coming names, right? So now people say, I want to be a part of that organization because obviously they're doing something over there. But what people still don't know is like, hey, now you say, well, what's the organization about? Now you're going to hear about it more now because you have good names over there. And what a lot of people don't know that's haven't played for the Wizards is it's really a class act organization. It always have been, even when it was more mom and pop with Abe Poland. It still was a class act organization because when I left, I didn't see any other organization that I played for on that level other than maybe the Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they treated you guys well, right? Like that's what I hear from most guys that are there too.
That too, but the resources,
Okay.
the resources, that's even though what is it? It's a Capital One now, right?
Yeah, Capital One Arena.
Yeah. Even though Capital One is not a new facility, it's still really nice and it's big.
By the way, they are finishing a big renovation sometime in 2027, I think, maybe early 2028 at the latest here. So, like, by the time the team is really ready to be like a playoff contending team here, presumably, they will have like a brand new shiny building. They just revamped the whole locker room that we talked about earlier in
Yeah,
the
I
year
see
here.
that.
Like, they're upgrading shit around
Yeah.
it. Like the timing here is pretty well synced.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And as far as existing facilities,
mhm.
that's kind of around that time or a little bit like more,
Yeah,
advanced. I mean, it's still one of the best.
yeah. Yeah, I've never had a problem with it. The food could use a little upgrade, but the players don't have to worry about that as much. Uh, the only like downside here maybe is, let's say, the money, presumably, and I don't even think this is a big downside, but if we were going to play a little devil's advocate, Davis is owed $54 million for this season, 58 million next year, and then for 2027, 2028 has a player option for 60, basically 63 million, which is just crazy where player contracts are that we're talking about 63 million. But more power to you if you can get it.
Absolutely.
But realistically, I assume he's probably going to take that player option because he'll be in his age 35 season. You take $65 million if it's on the table for you, I think. Or maybe he takes a longer term deal to get a little more, flexibility at a lower cost. Either way, you're going to invest a good amount of money in him for the next couple seasons here. And it's right around the time these younger guys are going to have to start being extension eligible and things like that too. But again, that's a problem for another day, and I trust this front office to move those chess pieces around to make this work. And if you're going to take two big dollar guys and Trae Young and Anthony Davis, now is the time to do it where your best players and your contributors are cheap on those rookie contracts. So I think that's the thing is like as they start to taper off and make less money, it's right around the time your young guys start to make more money, and hopefully you can kind of tip those scales more favorably in your direction longer term too.
Yeah, yeah. But and I get what you're saying. I think what they're trying to go for 4 in the finals, 4 in the playoffs next year.
You think so? Like run, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're trying to make the impact next year. So in these next 3 years, I think they're trying to make it vital where we have to get it.
Sure.
We're planning on we want to get a ring in these next 3 years. So
yeah,
I don't think they're looking past these next 3 years so far. Now,
yeah, that's a problem for another day. We can figure it out and make it work. And we're creative, and we've shown we can get out of bad deals if one becomes a bad deal already. Right. And yeah, you're trusting yourself at that point. The deal takes them $30 million under the luxury tax to now just a shade under 5, just shade under 6, let's say. Still great. There's still some wiggle room there for Ted, a guy that does not want to pay the tax. Like that's probably a relief here as well. I think the biggest thing is this signals that the Wizards, to your point, are in win now mode. And for Ted Leonsis, he's also in make money around my basketball team now mode. Like he was about as patient as we probably could have expected for a guy that did not want to rebuild. And I'm not saying next year they're going to go in and be the number 2 seed in the playoffs or whatever the case may be. That was Gilbert Arenas' prediction. I'm not going to go that far that they're a title contender next year, but Ted is going to sell some tickets. Trae Young and Anthony
Oh, yeah.
Davis will sell some tickets for you. So you will be better and more just like relevant in the zeitgeist around DC by having these two guys. And people will get hyped around this team if they see a big jump in wins, in growth, and I think that's big for them. They'll sell some jerseys along with it. Like he'll make back the money he didn't make the last couple of years here, and I think that's probably important for him too.
DC loves a star.
Right, exactly.
Right.
If you, a star
So
and you win, like we'll come out for that.
so it's been a while for that the marketing team could really, really have a guy they can,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, can
Yeah,
put
for
behind.
sure.
Like,
Yep.
these guys, they can plaster them all over the city.
Yeah,
Put them on
that's
the
true.
billboards, put them on the
Yep.
buses, and right. Like
Yep.
we finally have that star again.
Mm-hmm.
And DC loves a star. So yeah, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about ticket sales. One thing about the Wizards, when you have a star there, it becomes a fashion show.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Big
like
deal.
it becomes, because the Wizards games are different.
Yep.
They're coming to watch the game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also one of those cities that's seen and be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna
And the
show up a
Wizards
half hour
games are
late
perfect
and
for that.
yep.
Yeah, they're perfect for that.
Yep.
So you can, and I remember when back Michael Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
with the Wizards for those years, and you saw everything. Everybody came out. It was
Yeah.
Dion on at half court or no matter what. I think this is not Michael Jordan, but you have two big stars,
Yeah.
and you can blast these guys everywhere, and they're going to come out to watch these guys play. It's going to be a very exciting time for Washington Wizards basketball and for the city again. And the city really, really loved the Wizards.
Yep.
They just haven't had, that umph thing that they, to get
Yeah.
behind
Something to
for
get
a
excited
while.
about.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's something to be excited about.
Not since 2017 and the John Wall team, I
Mm-hmm.
think, have we had like a thing to get like I was at that whole playoff run. That postseason was popping. Like this will
Yeah.
be a relevancy thing again. And I think basketball fans, if you talk about Alex Sarr, they know he's good. They know he was a number 2 pick. Keyshawn George, basketball fans know is a good player. The casual fan, the casual person in DC, they're not coming out for those two guys. They don't know who that is. I promise you, someone who
Right.
doesn't know shit about basketball has heard of Trae Young and or Anthony Davis, if not
Yeah.
both. So, and that's big too. Yeah, so the Wizards have raised ticket prices every year of the tank. Now they can actually raise them and feel good about it. So
Right.
I think that's good for them, I guess, too, for their conscience maybe a little bit. And we talked about the renovations. You mentioned the city. I think this is big for the city who is investing in those renovations as well. Like people will come out. You can revitalize the Gallery Place area a bit more than you had been able to the last couple of years here. The other thing I think
Guys
is
like that bring revenue.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, guys
Yep.
like that bring revenue. When
Yep.
if guys like that, they bring new businesses that's opening, and
Mm-hmm.
a lively area. Like you said,
Sure.
that area it start to just get back popping again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're all those playoff years, even over the Caps playoff runs, like it was crazy at night at bars after games, and
Yeah.
now it's kind of dead most of the time. So I think this will be huge for them. They'll put butts in seats, and butts in seats will go get food and drink in the area, and that's awesome. The other thing that I just saw while prepping for this at the last minute, Jake Fisher reported on their live show that they just did that the Wizards reached out to the Knicks about acquiring Karl Anthony Towns before ultimately pivoting to Anthony Davis when they heard a no there. That's like that's not just like we stumbled into Anthony Davis and we decided to make a move. That's we went out looking for a dude. And like
Oh,
that's not just like, oh, this fell into our lap and Dallas called us. Like this is a very clear signal to the rest of the league. We're making calls about big name dudes because we are going all in to make this team competitive next year, which is crazy. And I love to see it because it's quicker than I expected, honestly.
and even more surprising, even with that, Sham said it came down to Anthony Davis and Sabonis.
Mm. I much
So
prefer Davis of the two, even with the injury, to be honest with you.
yeah, I would too. But my entire point is,
Yeah.
not only were they looking for a big name, they
Right.
were looking for a
big,
specific person in a specific position.
Yep.
So they wanted two really big bigs to play together. They wanted a situation like that, and most teams don't. But this is how they wanted it set up. So now it's not. So it was very intentional.
Yeah,
right.
Of the guys you could have got, he's the most versatile one to put with
Yeah.
with Sar, I think, too. And just defensively, the infrastructure that gives you is also huge here as well. Locked on Law said in the chat, Sacramento wanted a first from us for Sabonis, and I'm just not in on that kind of player. But we talked about this roster this year was not built to be competitive, and one of the ways they guaranteed that was by being undersized and getting beat up on the boards because you only had two bigs on the whole roster. Now, when you go get a big, I think you're trying to remedy that specifically, and that's another big sign of like now we're changing what we were trying to do here. Like now we want to win some things because we're going to put another guy next to Sar and give him some help finally.
Good, because now you have to go get another big because you're going to have Sar and Davis most likely out there together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So now you have to get a backup for Sar and a backup for Davis.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we'll see if Tristan Vukcevic can be on another two-way contract for another year somehow.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
They could go get Marvin Bagley back again in the offseason for a third trip around the sun here if we want to do that too.
I wouldn't think it's a bad idea.
I'm not mad at it either. For if you need a cheap option, his $2.5 million a year or whatever.
I take Bagley back in a heartbeat.
100%. I agree.
Because I know he's going to be consistent.
Yeah, and he could probably play a little bit with either of those guys now that you don't need him to be the only backup. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My guy Al Sasser, shout out Al, asked me this question beforehand about Brian Keefe's status. He was brought in to be a player development coach specifically and help these young guys, and that was really his forte. And he wanted to know if that just meant that Keefe, the writing's on the wall here, that he may be out the door sooner rather than later. And Wizards fans are already throwing out names they want to coach the team next year. I will make you a 100% guarantee. You can bookmark this and you can come back and throw it in my face if I'm somehow wrong. Brian Keefe will be the head coach of the Washington Wizards to start the 26-2027 season. Like he will be back next year, and they will give him every opportunity to see if he can be competitive with this group. I'm not saying he'll get the longest leash or some like lifetime contract or whatever the case may be here, that they're not invested in him for forever, but they're not going to throw him out with the bathwater here the minute. Like he's going to get a chance, and he's been their dude, and he paid his dues here with this dog shit team. Like they're not going to torpedo him like that of just throwing him out at the end of the season, because that says to other coaches you're not going to give them all a fair shake anyway. And they've been so worried about their image, how they treat their players. They're going to do the right thing by their coach. So I would imagine you give him a fair shot, and if it doesn't look like it's working, you at least can say, hey, we tried it. I just can't see them making a move here, Jahadi. Am I crazy?
I would normally say, yeah, you are, but
Okay.
but now you think about it, and, he's always been that guy.
Yeah.
So, he's not just that, he's been that kind of guy that he kind of.
This is a big loyalty front office. Like,
right,
and
exactly. That makes sense in that situation, but I don't think he has that long of a leash.
That's exactly right.
Reason being is they can't risk it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to strike what iron's hot.
Yeah, if you start out
And you
10 and
have to
20 next
have
year,
somebody who
he's
can
getting
really
kicked.
coach these guys.
Yeah.
And not saying he can't. I'm not saying,
Sure.
one thing about him is, and if you notice, was what I see with Keefe is these guys has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
They play
Absolutely.
confident. Like he doesn't put these guys on a short leash or in a tight box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they do, and they play their roles very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, but with vets are funny. They have to have somebody they respect.
Yeah. Right.
Not only they have to have somebody they respect, they have to have a powerful voice
Mm-hmm.
that just has as much power with them. I don't know if they would instantly see Keefe. Keefe will have to earn that.
Yeah. I agree.
And Keefe will have to earn that for vets that have been around a long time. Because vets will quickly try to rock the boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
Soon
going
as
to test
something
you
they don't,
and push your
yeah, they will
buttons and
test
see,
you,
see
right?
what I can get away with here and
Right.
that
And
kind of thing.
so, but they won't do it with certain coaches.
Sure.
So that's the reason I was saying maybe they would be looking for somebody like that now.
Mm-hmm.
Just right now, like who's the guy?
Mike Malone from Denver has been the
Yeah,
most
like
popular name.
I was exactly what I was about to say, like a Mike Malone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't take any
that's
shit.
exactly what I was about to say. A Mike
Championship
Malone.
pedigree.
I don't care. Yeah, he don't give a shit.
No.
I don't care who you are. Like that. That's the type of situation where you want these guys like you bringing in these big vets. Big vets have to have a big vet type of coach.
Yeah, you need the presence that can offset them, and
Yeah.
a guy making $60 million, he's not listening to some schmuck that he thinks is the JV
Right.
coach.
Right.
So, and again, not saying that Brian Keefe is, but like he will have to prove it next year with them. I think the one thing that helps is, by all accounts, Trae Young is a good citizen and not a flip their locker room on its side kind of guy. There was maybe a little back and forth with Nate McMillan or Lloyd Pierce or one of those guys, but nothing crazy. I don't remember hearing any of those things about Anthony Davis being like a turn the locker room on a coach kind of guy. So like I think that helps that they can be adults and maybe that gives him an opportunity to prove if he's the dude or not. And you've got Dame Lillard and Kevin Durant, all these other guys that have gone to bat for Keefe in the past. It might buy him a little extra cachet with them too. So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, any other aspects of this trade that we haven't talked about that you want to cover?
No, you just you're excited about this year because you're excited about next year.
Yeah, hope for the future.
Right now you get looking forward to the draft. There's just so many things, And what I like about is all the old Wizards guys. I'm watching Eton Thomas. I'm watching Gil. They're truly excited about this,
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to get those old players because one thing about it, man, a lot of us players who played for the Wizards, especially when it was like our first or second team.
Sure.
They really still have a lot in their heart for that organization and for this.
Yeah.
It's different. And people really don't understand on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys when we left the Wizards and the grass just wasn't greener no matter what because it's just such a different organization.
Yeah.
And so that's why these guys are so excited. They truly want the Wizards to be that organization. And, because they have that deep down still love for this organization, just like me.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. I'm excited for you to get to talk about this team when they're finally good again.
Oh, yeah.
Because the entire time we've done this show, they've been largely shit.
Hey, I can't
we're
wait.
due here, man.
Yeah. I can't wait.
That will be nice. And they are starting to bring back some familiar older faces, and the love they've shown John Wall has been well received by fans too. So I think connecting with their roots a little bit more here too, I think is a cool thing to see some of the other guys getting on the broadcast and mixing things up a bit. Brendan Haywood coming back in, stuff like that. Like it's cool. I think there's more to come to be excited about too. And I'm excited. I have one last thing. I need to just say this. Earmuffs, if you're listening to this in the car with the kids or the family or whatever, it's fuck Jackson Hayes. I don't know if you saw this, Jahadi, dump trucking our mascot on the way out of the court onto the court the other night. He got suspended for a game for basically assaulting our mascot. Like, what the fuck?
I saw him. I saw that. I saw that he got suspended for what did he do to the mascot? They said it because he hit the mascot.
Yeah, he laid him out for like he was like waving the flag around near the tunnel, and he just bowled through him and ran right past him. Crazy.
Wow.
These kids today.
Come on, G Wiz. G Wiz,
Yeah.
you got me knocking G Wiz out now.
That's right, man. You mess with our mascot, you mess with us.
Yeah.
Any member of the Wizards. All right. Partner, great stuff. I'm excited for this. We'll be back. I don't expect either of these guys to play much this season. If you got a couple games of Anthony Davis at the end, that'd be okay just to see.
Hey,
but I wouldn't rush
don't
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yep, that'd be fine by me, honestly.
Yeah.
And by the way, Knicks fans, you can kick rocks. I saw them complaining like the Wizards trade for these two All-Stars and they're gonna sit them and try to keep their pick so that it doesn't go to the Knicks. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Like,
Yeah.
And if they want to fine us $100,000 for tanking or whatever it is, go ahead. That's a fine we will gladly
I'm not
pay.
only tanking, I'm tanking and I'm sustaining my new picks, my new guys that just came in. I'm not going to play them this year.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy that anybody thinks that was an option. Because I did see a couple tweets like, well, the Wizards now have to make sure that they don't ruin their lottery chances. Like, get the fuck out of here. This front office just pulled this off, and you don't think they realize they need to keep a top 5 pick? Like, come on, guys. This is 4D chess, not checkers. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll do some more draft coverage as we get a little closer here because this is exciting now to think about who the pieces are and what they can kind of fit around this core, and then get a little more money in free agency here too to build out the rest of those other couple spots. And I don't know. I think this is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it will be.
Partner, thanks for doing this. I'm excited for us to talk winning basketball. Wizards fans, thanks for sticking with us through the deconstruction phase. The ascent phase should hopefully be a lot more fun. Again, if you can hit that like button for us if you're watching on YouTube, we really appreciate that. iTunes reviews, things like that, always super appreciated. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll be back for more fun Wizards basketball, hopefully, throughout the rest of the year here. Stay tuned.